So we used to do a lot of craft at night in front of the fireplace with the radio going. To learning a skill to use your hands, you have to start really young. In 12 we were allowed to use Mum's sewing machine, and then the next year at school for 3 years we did sewing. It was called home ec. Throughout my life I've just been able to make money from sewing, and then I got into retail, selling vintage clothing, and I would sit in the shop and repair the clothing, and people would ask me to fix things for them, so I started doing that as well. And then I started making the vintage clothing because I ended up with a big vintage fabric collection as well as the patterns. So that became quite a big thing, but then the repairs and alterations took over from the dressmaking. Dressmaking takes a long time, and it's just boomed into this business. And also people buying clothing online, they can't try it on, so once they bought it, they want to wear it, so they bring us the clothing to alter. So we like online shopping, and it's just that human element to it, as opposed to just going to Kmart and buying some soulless thing. And I think some poor 14-year-old was awake at 3 o'clock in the morning sewing this thing, and it'll get worn a couple of times and just thrown away. And so I find doing this is a lot more personal. And it's just amazing how much fabric there is in our lives and all the applications you can have for it. And with a skill like this, I could travel the world. And I think there is a move to ethically produced clothing. A lot of people feel quite guilty about the 14-year-old in the factory when they really should be at school in a third world country. But often it just comes down to the expense of it all. To get the dexterity in your fingers and the hand-to-eye coordination. Yeah. And there's a lot to understand about fabric because there's so many different types of fabric. They all have different characteristics. It is really a lifetime's knowledge.